Sounds
Hey,
good.
everybody. Welcome back to the Engineering Entrepreneur Podcast. This is episode 131. Again, this is Scott Tarcy, president of CADdesignhelp.com. We go over our normal checklist here. One, go to my website to get on the email list. You can hit the subscribe button. Check out my new online course, How to Become an Engineering Entrepreneur. Leave me a review on iTunes and send me an email for any feedback. info@CADdesignhelp.com. All right, our guest this week is Michael Bogue. He is the brand manager for Benro Tripods in the USA. He has a wide-ranging background from his current role managing tripods and lighting in the U.S. to his start in the photo business with DJI and drones. And specifically today, we're going to talk about a new Kickstarter product with the auto-leveling tripod from the Benro company. So, Mike, maybe tell us a little more about yourself, and then we can jump into this pretty cool tripod product.
Yeah, sure. Like Scott said, my name is Mike, and I've been in the photo industry now for about 8 years. And I got my start off with a company called DJI. They were kind of the innovators in the drone industry. They created the Phantom, the Mavic, and newer drones like the Avata FPV drones. They kind of normalized drones in the U.S. And from there, I left the company and I came over to Benro. And Benro had some unique products such as gimbals, which stabilize cameras. And that's kind of how I made the transition over from DJI. And I worked my way up to running the Benro business here in the U.S. So, with doing that, tried to take some of the things that I've learned from the tech world with DJI and brought them over to Benro, which Scott, tripods, they have 3 legs and they hold a camera up, and we figured that they could do something more. So we've introduced this new product, which I think we'll get into here pretty soon.
Yeah, so I'll definitely put the Kickstarter link in there. And the great thing about episodes like this with Kickstarter projects is they always have a good video, and so we'll put that link in the show notes. But yeah, I watched that, and I'm not really a photographer myself, other than using my iPhone. But for these guys with the pro level cameras, I get the benefits. And the product is called Benro Theta, the intelligent modular travel tripod. It's done quite well. Still has 23 days ago, but they already raised 1.6 million.
It's exceeding expectations. Yeah, that's
yeah,
for sure.
$50,000 goal. Well, I've had a lot of Kickstarter episodes, and if there's one takeaway I've learned is that you just kind of set like a low nominal goal, because really you want to hit that goal immediately so that you get pushed in the algorithm.
Yeah, definitely.
And typically the way people do that is they've already got an email list and basically traction before you even go to Kickstarter. But we'll let you fill us in on that. Let's just have you talk about the product and then the campaign, and I'll stop talking now.
Sure. So first off, like I said, Benro is a tripod company, and we are trying to, get to the forefront and change how people look at tripods. Tripod is meant to stabilize your camera, either photo or video, and give you, very nice, clean shots. You can do with standard tripods, you can just do landscapes, you can take long time lapses, you can do long exposures. With Theta, we figured take any extra guesswork or anything that makes, capturing the image that makes it difficult, and just take that away. So with Theta, we've essentially made a self-leveling tripod. That's kind of like the tagline, right? We want people to say, well, that's really cool. But that's not all it does. It also takes ambient light into account, and it'll expose the image properly for you. It'll do all the math for you. So that way, if you're doing like a long time lapse, it'll change the exposure for you. It'll take the photo every 5 seconds and store it internally. So you have a backup copy of it. It will do automatic bracketing, so you can take actually multiple pictures and merge them all into a single high dynamic range image.
This is like all the kind of stuff that would really get on the nerves of the older, really experienced photographer who's doing it since like the 80s, because he's like, all the stuff I had to work for, you get it automatically now. I can
We
just
definitely
imagine
hear
a guy
that.
like that. I can imagine a guy like that having that kind of reaction after him.
Yeah, and a lot of it hasn't been very many people saying anything like that. It's just like more, I wish I had this back when I was, traveling and, carrying a tripod and tediously going through all these different changes in exposure and, turning the image sensitivity wheel and, just getting it perfect as the sunrise comes up or goes down, or, if you're trying to capture city lights, this does it all for you. It just kind of makes it so you can kind of kick back and relax and actually enjoy the moment and let the tripod record it for you. One of the things that I saw, I was watching it was a basketball highlight, and someone, I forget who it was, but somebody was getting a record, and the only thing that you see are all of these cameras, these phones, sticking up, and everyone's looking into them trying to capture the moment. But there was one guy just watching it, and I think we kind of need to get back to that. And one of the ideas is just let Theta do the work for you, and you enjoy the moment.
Yeah, it's funny. They do this all the time in golf too. Like the guy will be hitting a shot, right, and the crowd will be like behind him, and every single person with their phone. It's like, I mean, I guess if I was there, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll video or photo some shots, but like, are you really gonna go back and look at like thousands of these later? It's like, why not just enjoy watching some of them?
Exactly. Yeah. So,
quick question. I was just something that came across my mind. Does the tripod come with the camera, or does it just work with any kind of digital camera?
yeah. So as of now, we have about 700 different cameras that it works with.
Oh,
They come from the major
totally.
brands like Canon, Nikon,
Okay.
Sony,
Yeah.
and we integrate the protocol, and we allow the Theta to communicate with it.
Right, because it would have to in order to like know how to level and do everything.
Exactly. So the tripod actually can level on its own. It has a sensor within the tripod that is taking multiple readings, and it's able to get within 0.01 degrees. And that's not dependent on the camera, actually. So the camera is going to be independent of that.
All right, but it's like it's mounted in a way such that like the weight doesn't matter, right? Because the legs are going to hold it regardless. Even if there's more force on one leg, it's going to hold it flat.
Yeah. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to detect what angle it's at currently, the base of the tripod. So it has the three legs and they all come together at the base. And there's a sensor in there, and it's able to detect, okay, this side is 3 degrees off. So one of those legs, whichever one is going to be the longest, the shortest, it'll raise up and it'll get it to within 0.01 degrees of perfectly level. So if you're hiking and you have a shot that you want to get and you set up your tripod, you hit level and it goes level, you look at the composition or the framing of the shot and you're like, you know what, maybe it's better over here. You move the tripod and within 4 seconds, you can hit that level button and it's going to be level again. So if you're on a hill, you don't have to take the leg, twist it, extend it, or shorten it to get level. It just makes it that easy for you.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me think of that's what the thought I had. Makes me think of the Delta 3D printers that have the 3-axis. I think it's like similar technology because it like those kind of 3D printers know where their position is, and it moves it like they call it deltas, the 3 arms, versus like most 3D printers are more they call Cartesian, where it just moves in X and Y.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the same exact technology, but it seems similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's using an accelerometer and essentially what's going to be built into your phone to determine what's level. But we've done it with much tighter tolerances. And it just, anytime you're doing video, you don't want to have to constantly loosen the leveling base, re-level it, and fix it. But it's just a time-saving device. It's something that's going to be very lightweight, portable, and just kind of easy to take with you. But yeah, it sounds similar for sure.
Very cool. What about other unique features of the tripod?
Sure. Yeah. So it's actually waterproof up to the head. So 95% of tripods out there are going to not be waterproof whatsoever. This one, you can take it, you can put it into a stream, which honestly, you can't really see what's down there half the time. If you're trying to do low shots of maybe a bird sitting on a rock or, just depending on what you're doing. and you hit level, it'll still level even in the water. And that's a pretty unique feature. A
Oh,
couple
and
other
I watched
things.
the video about the legs. Like, how does it connect so much fat? How does it click into place so much faster than the like the other version that you have to like thread into place?
Yeah, so the motors are actually built in. So if you're, rotating, extending, uh, and then the threading, it's you you don't really have to manually do much. But if you did want to do it manually, you still could do all of the uh, height and length changes manually as well.
Yeah, that's super useful there. Any more unique features about it?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things that people that are shooting video would care about. It has a unique photo head that can convert into a video head. So Scott, the differences between like a photo head and a video head are going to be photo heads are just on a ball and it can rotate 360 degrees in any direction except for upside down because the legs are there, obviously. And then it locks using compression and a sleeve around that ball. With this head, it actually has a gear locking mechanism that allows it to not roll left or right, and you can pan and tilt. So basically, you just get upwards and downwards movement, and then left and right movement, which is something that if you're watching a video, you don't want to have any rolling action because it can actually make you kind of dizzy. Um, and this is one of the first heads that'll just lock into place with one twist of a gear, and it'll turn it into a video head. So you're getting kind of 2-in-1 with our Theta head that comes with the tripod.
Okay. And what I was curious, would an iPhone work with this? Like, is there an attachment like for the iPhone, like a phone holder that
Yeah, for
attaches
sure.
this that would work with it?
Yeah, so we don't include it on this one, but it has an Arca Swiss plate, which is basically on the head of the tripod. There's two rails that clamp together, and on the plate it looks like a V or a dovetail, and it locks those two into place. And we sell plates that have a built-in phone holder. So if you wanted to have a always level phone tripod, you could use it for that purpose too. Um, that one, you could also use it with gimbals, which, if you took the gimbal off, that could level a phone as well. Which when I say gimbal, I mean like a 3-axis motorized magnetic um, system that is going to always keep your phone at 0 degrees, which Benro makes some of those as well.
Yeah, I've seen people have these like almost like a selfie stick where they're holding it in their hand
Exactly.
and they move it and it just holds it straight.
Super popular now, and they're just using the gyroscopic precession principle there. So it's always gonna, no matter what movement you make, it's gonna essentially keep it zeroed out, just like a gyro
Yeah.
would.
Yep. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign
Yeah.
itself. So talking to a lot of past guests on the show, you really can't just go like launch on Kickstarter and really have any success. You need to have a lot of not like eyeballs and an email list and all that beforehand. So were you involved in all the pre-Kickstarter stuff before you guys actually launched?
Yeah, definitely. So I helped arrange all the Kickstarter. We did most of it in-house, actually. Um, yours truly wrote the copy. We have a pretty big marketing team in New York that helped with everything but the images, um, and just kind of grew it. We've done a Kickstarter previously that did about, I want to say it was 2.5 million, called the Polaris, and that was our star tracker. So this is our second go, and the tripod's a little bit cheaper than the star tracker was. So we were expecting a, you know, each item that you sell is going to be getting you just a little bit up to that total amount a little bit slower. When you have a tripod that's $399, the Polaris was at $900, which is the star tracker. So
Yeah, you have a lot. You have 3,079 backers already, so
yep.
pretty good. Talk about some of the things you did to have people have knowledge in advance, because when you guys launched day one, you probably had a lot of people like who knew about it. How did you guys, I guess, build that email list so that people were aware?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we previously did the Kickstarter for the Polaris, so we worked off a little bit of that. The nice thing about having the same company behind it, which is Benro, is we were able to get the word out to all of the Polaris backers, which this product actually works perfectly for. If you know anything about star trackers, the number one rule on star trackers is to get the tripod as level as possible. So we had 3,600 backers back the Polaris, and that was a really good starting point for us because we knew it was something that they could definitely use and something that could be used in other aspects of their photography. Because if you're doing astrophotography, which is the star tracker, you're taking images of nebula, different galaxies, the planets. You can track like Jupiter or the moon or anything like that, and they're doing the time-lapse photography most likely. If you get into astrophotography, you tend to have a pretty long story before getting into that. It's one of the trickier types of photography to do. But yeah, we were able to work off of that, get the word there. Benro here in the US, it has a pretty big following. We're one of the larger tripod companies, so we were able to reach out to our customers there as well and get this Kickstarter project going.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's a little bit easier for a company like Benro because they already are an established company that had a following. New startups, I think they have to spend more. They have to do some Facebook ads or Google ads probably to generate a list.
Yeah, we definitely did that. Being someone that looks up tripods quite often on my computer, I think the cookies got me, and they tracked me down and started targeting me with all of our Theta ads as well. So we were doing that for about 30 days before the launch of the product, and we also were, we had, like you said, we had the YouTube video that came out, which we launched a couple days before the Kickstarter started, which kind of broke down, maybe some of the people that we reached out to had some worries about, maybe I don't need this. Okay, what are the extra features beyond just self-leveling, which just in itself isn't necessarily the only reason to buy it. So we showed, camera control. You can change your aperture, ISO, and shutter settings from 300 feet away. You can say, take this time lapse of city going from day to night, and just different things that make it easier for you to get the picture that you want to get or the video that you want to get. And
yeah, and obviously you made this video. Were you involved in making the Kickstarter video as well?
I was not. I did write the script for it, but the video was not something that I was involved in, unfortunately. I wish I was able to get over there and experience that.
Cool. Okay. Well, I don't have much left. Anything else you want to tell us? And I've got a few last questions.
Yeah. So the Theta comes in a couple sizes. The regular size is going to be 67 inches. Then we also have the max, which gives you about another 10 inches of height for anyone that's extra tall, or that might be using it, like I had mentioned previously, out in nature. Even if you don't need the full height of the 75-inch Theta Max, you might be using it on a hill. You might be using it in a space that is a couple feet below where you're standing, and it allows you still to use that extra height to let you see the viewfinder. Or if you're trying to get over objects, there's another reason to use that. It's made out of a super lightweight carbon fiber material and has 3 motors built into each one of the legs, one motor per leg, so 3 motors total, that are going to let you level the tripod to as close as you have it set at the moment. And then it's going to let you have all these super cool app-controlled features such as time-lapse, camera control, and remote shutter. And it also does live streaming. So this is really useful for somebody that might be doing a video for a wedding or a event. All you have to do is you connect your phone to the live streaming module, which is an add-on with Kickstarter. You hit stream and you put in the stream key for YouTube or Facebook or a RTMP server, and you can send this video to anywhere in the world. And it basically turns your camera into on-the-go live stream solution for if you're doing this professionally, or even if you're just filming someone's maybe retirement party or something. It'll let you with ease get this information out to more people quickly.
Very nice. Okay, last two questions. What is your number one tip for the audience?
Number one tip is, just go out and shoot. My number one thing is, I do this for my job. I do photography. I'm always demoing. Get out there, even if you don't have the Theta, or if you do have the Theta, get out there and take as many photos as you can, and just try to enjoy it. It's a very fun thing, and this is a product that's only going to make it more enjoyable.
Very cool. And lastly, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Yeah. Either benrousa.com. We have multiple ways of contacting me and my team here in the US, or you can reach out on Kickstarter, and we'll be able to reply pretty quickly to you there with any questions that you might have.
Awesome. All right, Michael. Well, thank you for your time today. It's pretty cool to learn about the Theta tripod, and we'll catch everyone next time on the podcast.
Great. Thanks, Scott.